I cannot wait to play this game, one of the scariest games to date.
I haven't even started the game! Don't eat me alive! There's so many games for me to play! Is that it?
Honestly, the expectation level was a lot higher than that. Now you sit over there and we're going to listen to some YouTube videos how to be a little bit scarier than that. I don't want to hear it. When the Callisto protocol was first announced, I was so excited to play this game. The graphics looked insane and the combat looked super fun. You get a variety of different weapons and supposedly the scariest game to release in recent years.
Yeah.
It was directed by Glenn Schofield, the co-creator of the original Dead Space games. So with over 10 hours of the game played and I've completed it, this will be my spoiler-free review going through the positives and the negatives. The story isn't as deep as other story-driven single-player games, but it's still deep enough for you to be interested to know what the hell happened at Black Iron Prison, a maximum security prison located on one of Jupiter's moons. The story jumps right in and you play as Jacob Lee, a contracted transporter who is wrongly imprisoned after his ship crash lands there. It starts to make sense the longer you get into the game. You meet an ally early on, Elias, who has been at the prison for a very long time, so he knows the ins and outs of this prison. So you start to work together to get out.
That pilot they just brought in, yeah? Yeah, well, look, I've been in here half my life. I know this place. I've got a plan to get out. If you help me out of this cell, I'll help you, yeah? But you can use this to get inside a control room across that bridge.
You also meet this other character, which I always forgot her name, Danny, and she tries to kill you very, very early on. No explanation made, but you start to understand why later on. Early on in the game, I literally got lost and so confused on this first part. There are so many doors and rooms that my mind went blank and it took me so long to find out where I had to go. Throughout the game, you will find these audio recordings that will tell you a bit more of the story and other things about the outbreak and the prison.
Personal log, Dr. Caitlin Marlowe. Arrived at Black Iron today.
I didn't really listen to them because I didn't really care and I couldn't be bothered to open up the menu, so I just kept playing. Also because I was so focused on trying not to continuously die. Which I will come to. There is no doubt when you boot up this game on the PS5, it is a stunning, beautiful game. These are some of the best graphics I have seen on the PS5. Every bit of atmosphere in Black Iron Prison is truly incredible. It's quite repetitive in terms of the environments you're in because it takes place in the prison, but it doesn't take anything away from it. From lighting to the environments, especially when you see the outer world, I was mesmerized. To the character models in and out of cutscenes.
To this moment, to this place.
That's your old life. You gotta let that go. Because your new life is entirely in my hands.
They look so realistic with their animations. From the enemies, the gore, the blood. When you are shooting at these enemies, the animations and blood is gruesome and so satisfying. I know a lot of people had a lot of problems with the game on other platforms such as performance and frame rate issues. On the PS5, I had no problems with the game. I had one crash the whole game. It was such a smooth experience. I didn't think it was 60 FPS or fully 60 FPS throughout the whole game. It looked like it dropped to around 50 or 45 because I was like, is this really 60 FPS? It doesn't seem like it is. Nevertheless, it was so smooth in and out throughout the whole game. The characters are not really that memorable. You don't build up an emotional attachment to any of these characters. There's no real backstory to them. The voice acting and dialogue between all of these characters are top notch. They are believable. They're not cheesy in any way. And for the story that they're trying to tell, they tell it very, very well.
You can use this to get inside a control room across that bridge. You can open my cell from there. My name's Elias, by the way.
Jacob.
Don't lose it, Jacob. Might just save your life.
Apart from the main character Jacob Lee, you have Elias, who I really did like the more and more you worked with him. You have Danny Nakamura, who at the start just starts to try to kill you for no reason at all, and you basically hate her very early on until the game opens up. The deeper you get into the game, there's a little bit more character development. You have the main enemies, the Warden, Duncan Cole, who you don't really know, and you know he's a bad guy, and you see him in numerous holograms. There's nothing really much to him. You do meet a few other characters in very small parts and with not much depth, but they are all very believable. I made sure to watch all the cutscenes because I was so interested in where the story was going, but also the game was so beautiful. This is beautiful. Now to the main course.
And for the main course.
What are you doing? I'm doing a video. I don't want actually
Well, you said main course. I thought you wanted some finest chicken.
Go.
Fine.
Sorry about that.
If I wasn't doing this review because I planned it from the start, I would have quit the game 2 hours into the game. That's how frustrated I got. Bear with me. I really like where they went with this game in terms of some new features. So instead of a dodge button, when an enemy is attacking you, you would hit right or left and it will dodge that attack. After one attack, you had to make sure that you dodge again and that you push the analog in the opposite direction that you started with. Otherwise, you're dead. Like I was. A lot.
Try to stop me now.
I felt like there was only one problem with the game that made me get a little bit frustrated because I wanted to break my controller. And I never get frustrated playing games. Rarely. When you are facing more than 2 enemies, especially during the first 2 hours of the game, I thought that the game is broken. It is so hard to dodge 2 enemies at once, try and run, and try and reload your water pistol at the same time. For me, it just didn't work. It didn't work. I either ran out of ammo, or I ran out of battery to use that teleportation thing, or I just couldn't reload on time, or I just kept missing them when I was trying to melee them. And if you can't get any of those things, then you're gonna be totally I was so frustrated playing this game the first 3 to 4 hours. I just didn't want to play it anymore. And in my head, I kept thinking, I don't get why they just don't fix the damn game. In some situations, it took me around 15 to 20 times to get through this certain level. And it didn't feel like fun. It just felt like, what the hell? It wasn't like Demon Souls hard. It just felt super, super hard, but not in a fun way. There were times I had to have just a little break and I would go back to it.
Come on. All right. Just focus. You've got this. You can do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I need a break. I need a break. We got this.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they...
As I got deeper into the game, I started to realize that my teleportation skill, I had to make sure that I utilized it. There were times that I kind of forgot about it and didn't even bother with it. But as soon as I decided to implement it, it became a little bit easier. And I was like, oh, I can get rid of 3 enemies just by doing this instead of trying to shoot them all. And if you don't throw them on those spikes, you will not get past the level. You won't. I tried. At the same time, there is no block button, so for me, it felt a bit overwhelming with these enemies because it just didn't make sense to me. After 2 to 3, 4 hours, you start to get more weapons. Okay, I can start to understand how to really utilize my guns, my teleportation, and my melee. You have to really learn the combat. And when I did, it became a lot more enjoyable. You have to learn how to use your abilities at the right time. Use your environment as much as you can. Throw enemies onto spike fences to instantly kill them. Learn how to dodge at the right time and then shoot your your weapons at the right time when the little icon comes up to get a clear shot. And I didn't even realize about that. That little blue icon comes up after you kind of stagger them. I think a lot of people won't have the patience for this game. If you do have patience for this game, if you can get past those first 2-3 hours of the game, it will become a lot more enjoyable. And when I forced myself to do all this, I started really enjoying this game. I really wish you got a lot more weapons early on in the game because it was so hard. With all these enemies, I was like, I've just got a water pistol, or it feels like a water pistol. It does take some time for them to reload, and you notice this especially when you're surrounded by these annoying enemies who will just rape you in a second. Now you start off with the shiv, which is a rusty metal wrench given to you by Elias, which for the most part is pretty useful. For some reason it felt like it took such a long time to kill these damn enemies. The best part of this weapon is when you do come to certain enemies that cannot see, like these clickers, like from The Last of Us, you can crouch down and sneak up behind them and take them out quietly. All these weapons can be upgraded. That is really fun, which I will come to in a little bit. You have the hand cannon, which can be very powerful, but you must make sure every shot counts. Before you can upgrade, it honestly feels like it's doing nothing. Maybe because I'm just shit and I just couldn't aim for the head. You have the prototype shotgun, which I really did enjoy because this is what I needed for most enemies in close proximity. Great thing about this weapon is that even if you do not manage to kill your enemies, it will push them back far enough, which is just enough for you to freaking breathe. All right, what am I going to do with these other enemies? You get this weapon a lot later on in the game, and I was like, man, I could have used you a lot earlier. We have the tactical pistol, which was very quick to fire, but damn, did it take a hell of a long time to kill. It really felt like these bullets were made out of paper clips. I hope I've got the name of these weapons correct, because I'm not sure if I have, but I apologize if I do. When you eventually get more Callisto credits and you upgrade some of these weapons, some of the issues I talked about, like the recoil, ammo capacity, these issues disappear. You have the assault rifle nearer to the last third of the game, and this is by far my favorite weapon as it holds most bullets, it's quick, and damn, it will power these shots through these enemies easily. Instead of going through the menu to change a weapon, what's good is that I believe it's the left directional button. It will quickly change to another gun. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. You have the riot gun, another powerful shotgun, which is given to you by another character in the game. And this weapon can tear through enemies. The problem is I did use this gun for smaller enemies, and when it did come to the big bosses, I realized I've only got my shit weapon, so I shouldn't have done that. The great thing about all these weapons is the upgrade system, which you will be able to do so at the Reforge station, which you will come across at different points of the game. The upgrade system has one of the most amazing animations when it comes to upgrading your weapons. It is on par or probably better than The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, the way you would reload and you would see the animation. It's just so satisfying.
Activating print assembly. Complete. Unauthorized use of this print will be noted on your work record. Quality check verified.
The upgrade tree is very easy to understand, and throughout the whole game I needed to really think where is best to spend my Callisto credits, because it will be pivotal for your playstyle. Sounds super sad, but the upgrade system was one of my favorite parts. I'm a sad human being. You come across quite a lot of enemies in the game. Some are quite incredible and you're like, oh wow. Some are really freaking annoying. This game is a lot less scarier than I thought it would be. They really did hype this game up like this is going to be one of the scariest games released. There are quite a few jump scares in the game. Apart from that, I wouldn't say it's a true horror game, which I'm not complaining about. I'm a bit of a girl when it comes to that. Oh, you can't say that now. Am I going to get cancelled?
Finish him.
Shit. You get these stupid, annoying little snake-looking enemies that will just jump out of nowhere, and it is impossible to even see them coming. It's so hard to notice that they're there because of the environments. You get the regular enemies. They can get a bit annoying when you're just constantly getting rushed by them until you learn how to use the combat, your weapons, and all the different abilities. These enemies become a lot more enjoyable to kill eventually. Now, these bigger bosses with 2 heads, oh my god, the first time I encountered this big piece of doner kebab, it took me honestly around 20 times at least before I beat them. You have to make sure you really shoot at them as much as possible, and then they will drop onto the floor, and that's when you can use your melee weapon so that they can rip off one of their heads, and then you can continue, you know, shooting them again with your paper clips and then beat them eventually. But there are these other ones where you would open a chest and oh, it will grab onto your face. Shit. Oh, I didn't see that coming. The Callisto Protocol is a game that it requires you to take your time to really learn the combat and utilize the abilities that are given to you. It will probably take over 3 hours until you actually start enjoying the gameplay, with more accessibility to a variety of weapons and upgrades which are needed early on. If you don't have a lot of patience for certain games, yeah, you might not enjoy the game and you might not get past the first 2-3 hours. But if you persist with it, I guarantee that you will eventually find some enjoyment with it. I found some enjoyment with it eventually. It is a stunning game with incredible character models, lighting, environments, realistic animations, and a fun action horror single player experience. The story isn't too deep, but enough to keep you engaged all the way to the very end. The combat is where it will be hit and miss for a lot of people, and even though I was going to quickly quit, I pursued through to the very end. It's a game that I won't say it's a must play, but after playing the game for over 10 hours, I feel like I would enjoy it a lot more the second time knowing what I know now. And after the amount of time I've spent with this game, I would give this game now a 7 out of 10. This is all about opinion, so don't worry, don't go mad if you don't agree with me, it's okay. But I want to hear your thoughts. Have you played the game? Let me know what you think. Will you pick it up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know. Well, let's take a look at the comment of the day from my previous video. Top 10 PlayStation gift ideas for gamers. Shout out to J Fuente, if I've got that right. Good stuff, man. Felt a bit dated with the PS1 being your first console. SNES and original Game Boy for me. Love your content. Thanks for the comment, my man. And just to let you know, my PS1 was my first console that I had, but I used to play like the SNES, the N64 at my friend's house. My parents just didn't buy me it. The PS1 was officially the first console I had, and then it was the Game Boy Color. Christmas is very soon, so I think I'm gonna dive into The Witcher 3 with that next gen update. I cannot wait to play that game. Well, what do you think?
I don't really know.
Oh, well, you can stay. Maybe.